Hello everyone, today we're diving into a topic that highlights yet another challenge brought on by Brexit. EU plant exporters are turning their backs on the UK due to the new painful post-Brexit border checks, and this situation has been described as putting trading relationships between Britain and its EU suppliers at a breaking point. According to a report from this month, the Horticultural Trades Association, or HTA, which represents garden centres and growers, raised the alarm on this issue. In a letter sent to the UK government, they made it clear that long-standing partnerships between British nurseries and EU suppliers are now under serious strain. And the reason is delays and increased costs associated with the new border processes, the ones that are in place, not the delayed ones. So let's take a step back and understand what's actually happening here. Since April 24, the UK introduced new checks for plant and animal products coming from the EU, and the aim was to strengthen the country's biosecurity, making sure no harmful plant diseases or pests could enter Britain. On paper, this sounds like a reasonable goal, right? And this should have happened years ago, to be honest. However, in practice, these checks have led to significant disruptions for the horticultural trade. One notable incident occurred at the Savington border control post in Ashford. Several lorries transporting plants from Italy were held for more than 8 days. And why? The UK authorities feared that the shipments were carrying pests. As it turned out, traces of the Pocatia shantungensis pest were found, and some consignments received destruction notices. Now, no one is questioning the importance of protecting biosecurity. Even the HTA in their letter acknowledged that. They support a strong biosecure system, but they also highlighted the need to ensure that this system doesn't destroy legitimate trade in the process. The problem goes beyond just pests, though. Transporters and suppliers are frustrated by the lack of communication from the UK authorities. Companies are left in the dark for days with no clear idea why their goods are being held or when they'll be released. For instance, one Italian haulage company reported that their driver was stuck in Kent for 6 days, sleeping in his lorry. Without any information from the authorities, they had no idea how long the delay would last. And this isn't just a one-off event. This company, which has been transporting goods to Britain since the 1980s, says these new border processes are putting them in a huge difficulty. And they've even had to swap drivers mid-hold-up because the situation dragged on so long. And this isn't just affecting one company. Many others are starting to abandon the UK market altogether. One supplier who preferred to stay anonymous said they've now paused deliveries to the UK completely. And this company relies on the UK for 60% of its business, but the uncertainty surrounding border delays has left them no choice but to reconsider. The impact on UK customers is already being felt, with many waiting longer for their deliveries. And the situation is also pushing up costs. Drivers are often left waiting for 5 to 6 hours, sometimes even longer. And this adds to the transport costs, and companies have no choice but to raise their prices. As one spokesperson put it, drivers are sick and tired of the delays. It's not just the horticulture industry that's facing this issue. Earlier in the year, similar problems occurred with other goods when IT outages at the border caused long delays for perishable items. Transport and Logistiek Nederland, representing Dutch transport companies, warned that its members might start rejecting jobs to the UK because of these new delays. And the average delay at the border? Over 4 hours per truck. So where do things stand now? The HTA has called for urgent action. They want the UK government to improve communication with service users and hold a roundtable discussion with ministers to address the concerns. In response, the UK government said it remains committed to reducing trade barriers and cutting red tape. However, they also emphasized the importance of physical checks to prevent harmful diseases and pests from reaching British shores. But now let's talk about the bigger picture. Brexit was supposed to give the UK more control over its borders, and in many ways it has. But this control comes with a cost. The delays, confusion, and additional costs are having real-world consequences for businesses, especially in the horticultural sector. British nurseries, garden centres and their European suppliers are finding it harder to do business as usual. Ultimately, what we are seeing is a balancing act. The UK wants to protect its biosecurity, which is completely understandable and good, but it also needs to find ways to maintain the flow of trade with its European neighbours without a lot of bumps in it. And right now that balance seems to be tipping too far in the wrong direction, and it's causing major headaches for everyone involved. As Brexit continues to unfold, because Brexit is not finished for a long time, the question remains, how can the UK make sure it's safeguarding its borders without putting legitimate trade at risk? This latest issue with plant exporters might just be the tip of the iceberg. Only time will tell how the UK and the EU manage these challenges moving forward. But what are your thoughts on this issue? Do you think the UK can find a better balance between biosecurity and trade? Let us know in the comments below, but no whataboutism, please. And as always, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more updates on Brexit and its ongoing impact on trade. The next video is right here in the end screen.